Tell us about next week. I think you kick it off on Monday, don't you?
Yeah, it'll be a challenge, good challenge. To row from Tower Bridge to the Eiffel Tower. I'm really looking forward to it. A bit apprehensive because I've never done anything off land really before, so looking forward to it.
How on earth did this come up? I mean,
it's something that I've been doing for
3 seasons.
Yeah, it's something I've been doing for years, and I made that comment years and years ago that if I could help in anything, just ring me up and I'll do my best. And they've asked me, and I've said yes. And like with Kilimanjaro and marathons and cycling, and from John O'Groats to Land's End, it keeps you focused, fitness-wise at least.
Does it not put you off? Because I mean, I've spoken to Nick Hancock, and he said he had to carry you up the top of that mountain.
Yeah, he was the one who got altitude sickness and was obviously disillusioned. No, it was a great thing to do, and something that will always stay with me, always stay in my mind. But having said that, the most important thing, Pete, is making the money for the kids and for the hospice. Everything that we do, everything that you try and do is geared to that hospice, knowing how wonderful the people are in there, how hard they work to look after the children, and giving them something really special, in the last days, which is it is a special place.
Just to brace this, I mean, how many miles are you rowing, and how long is it going to take you?
I think it's around about 500 miles, but what we've got to do, we've got to get out of the channel. And then we've got to turn right and go down, I think, to Ramsgate, because we can't cross at the smallest or the shortest route, because it's too busy. The lanes are too busy with shipping, so we don't want any ship going over us. So we've got to drop down, I think, a couple of miles. I'm not sure how far it is down to Ramsgate, and then we've got to wait. We've got to wait for a phone call, I think, to say, yeah, you've got 2 days to get across. So, and then it'll take us another 2 days to get up to Paris.
Now, a lot of people are comparing this trip that you're doing to you trying to get money out of the chairman for new players for next year.
Now that's more difficult. No, the chairman's been fine. The chairman knows where we are, I think, as a football club, and knows what we've got to do. And he's been in it long enough. He's not naive to the situation. And we have to, look at that and work together. The club is, as I've said before, is a very, very well run, very well structured football club. But you can't, you have to move forward. You have to keep moving forward. You can't stand still, and he understands that.
Would you agree that there are more changes than you first thought that you're going to have to make?
I think the best thing to do with what I'm going to do is do it first and then talk to you later. Like I say, it's very, very difficult to explain and do things without having got the authority to do it at the moment, or got the green light to do it at the moment. And so I prefer to do different things, and then beginning of next season, hopefully we'll talk about it.
Would it be fair to say there's going to be a different structure to things at Albion next season?
I like I say, the chairman's in today, so I'll be speaking to him later. But we've talked all the way through, the 3, 4, 5 months I've been here about different things. And right from the academy all the way through, and it's not massive changes, Peter, but it's just little bits here, little bits there that I think could really, really stimulate the place and push the place on.
It's got to be your way. Do you agree?
No, not really. I think you've got to find. I think when you go into a football club, I think there's the chairman and the directors put their money in, and they keep the club going, so they have the right. And they pay my wages as well, so they have the right to say yes or no to anything I want. So you've got to make sure, and this is what same at Stoke for the 9-10 years I was there. I didn't always get what I wanted. Peter would say no if he thought it was not right for the club. He would say no. So I understand that you have to work together, and the closer you can work together, and the closer you're together on that line, trying to push forward, the more successful I believe you can be.
Looking at the road at Liverpool with Raheem Sterling over the last week, are you so glad that you approached Saido in the way that you did? Well,
I think it's a fact of life that agents are going to be involved in football. You have to accept it and get on with it. The thing that you need people, sensible people, and you hope and pray that these lads go with sensible agents. And there are good agents out there, Peter. There's good agents who will direct the lads in the right and proper manner. What's happened with Sterling and what's happened with his agent and Liverpool is poor. It's poor for the Premier League. It's poor for football. A young player who's got wonderful, wonderful talent, and that talking about finances, talking about moving, when that's all he should be doing is talking about what God has given him, a fantastic gift to play football. He's at a wonderful football club, fantastic football club, and it is beyond me that all this stuff comes out, that all this stuff is being talked about, and all this stuff is relevant to him. The only thing that should be relevant to Sterling is the fact that he's a very, very lucky man to have such great talent, and he's at a wonderful football club. Now, if the contract runs out or runs down, fine. If there's someone out there or someone else out there that wants to take him and it's acceptable for all parties, then the lad moves on. But to have all the bad publicity and all the bad press, I actually feel a little bit sorry for the kid because he's such a young lad.
He's got the same agent as Saido, hasn't he? Have you cut that out? Have you nipped that in the bud by getting such a good relationship with Saido so that the agent...
The most important thing for Saido, as I said when I first walked into the football club, was to concentrate on his football. If he plays well and does well at this football club, then hopefully for him and for everybody else, a top 4 club might come in. And West Bromwich Albion will not stop him, as long as the deal's right for the club, will not stop him joining a top 4 club. We hope and pray that he stays with us, Peter, because he's got a lot more to come. And we don't think he's at the end of his development. But if a top 4 club comes in and the clubs agree a fee, then fine. And then it's all done. People can shake hands and say what a great job he's done for the football club. Not only has he been here since a young kid and we've looked after him, but the club have made money on him and we have to reinvest in other people. That's the fact of life. What I don't like is the times where people are actually pushing people, and it takes them away. It takes the young lads away from, like I say, what for me their life should be about, and that is playing football, trying to improve, trying to get better, and helping their clubs to improve and get better.
Saw you on Monday, you and Jose getting on very well. You could clearly see that, from the camera angles and all that. Were you the same with Arson this weekend?
Myself, obviously, we had that little thing when we were at Stoke, which was brilliant. I thought it was fantastic. I used to get slaughtered going down to the Emirates, and Arson used to take a bit when he came to the Brit, and still does, from what I can gather. But that's football, that's life, and you get on with it. I think Jose was more wrapped up with my little grandson Luca than what he was with me.
So do you and Wenger get on?
Yeah, I've got absolutely no problems with any of the managers. The 9 times out of 10, Peter, what you do, you have 5 minutes with them after a game, and that's all you know. I don't know the person. I couldn't say whether he was a nice guy, bad guy, whatever, because you don't spend time with them. And when you're involved in football, a lot of people see you in football, and they perceive you to be this image that's projected. When 9 times out of 10, you turn the cameras off, you get away from people like yourself, and we are different human beings.
Yeah,
softer.
Well. I'm human. So will you get him to sponsor you?
I'll ask him. I'll ask him which is the quickest way to Paris. Yeah. He should know that.
Can I ask you this season? What's your standout moment of the season for you?
No, I think there's been. I think to come into a football club and to look at, I think it was 9 games. Was it 9 games without win, and I think they were a point away from dropping into the bottom 3. I think to not have the time that we'd had before previously at other clubs. Most probably the standout thing is that the players have really, really responded to what we've tried to do. And it's been different. Again, it was different at Stoke. It was different at Crystal Palace. It's been different here. You have to manage the teams that you've got and the players within that team, and you have to find a way of winning. And luckily for us, we've struck on a formula that has got us in a position where we've got enough points to be safe. and the players have to take credit for that.
Just finally, you can include yourself. Who's your manager of the year?
Well, I think there's different candidates all the way through the leagues as well. I read an article, and I don't usually read papers where Sean Dyche was almost criticised for Burnley getting relegated, which is an absolute nonsense. Sean has done for the money he spent and the budget they've got. He's done an absolute wonderful job to keep them going and keep them in contention until 2 games to go. So there's all different. There's structures. If you take the top 4, their budgets are much bigger than the middle group. The middle group will be much bigger than the smaller groups. So there should maybe be a guideline on, what you've got to work with, and then decide who gets the most out of the clubs that you're working with for the budgets that you've got. But whoever wins the champion, the champions of England, I think that they really deserve it. They really deserve it. No problems.
Tony, was it a perfect send-off for the fans on Monday?
Yeah, I think it was good. It was good in lots of respects. I think the fact that not just the result but the performance as well was very, very good. And it's always nice to let the supporters have a good summer, and our supporters will have a good summer now. They can travel down to the Emirates. It's a wonderful stadium. Arsenal's one of the best clubs in the world, never mind on these islands. It's a wonderful, wonderful venue, and hopefully we'll go down there and it'll be a good game, and they can have a good trip down there and a good trip back, and say it's been a good season.
With Saido getting into the 21 squad, is that him in the shop window for the summer now, do you think?
I think Saido's been in the shop window for the last year or so. I think people have been talking about him, and rightly so. And as I've said before to Peter, there's no problems with that. Every football club understands. The most important thing is that Saido keeps that to one side and concentrates on his football, because that's why people are talking about him, because he's played well on the pitch, because he's done the business on the pitch, and he's got his head down and really worked hard. And if you have a look at his running stats again against Chelsea, they're absolutely fantastic. Never mind the 2 goals he scored. The kid's gone on to a different level in respect of the effort and commitment he's putting in for the team, because it is a team game.
I spoke to Darren Fletcher after the game on Monday night, and he said how much he's enjoyed playing. How important has he been in making all of this happen?
Yeah, very much. He's a great professional. I've got a lot of time for him. He's a good lad round the place, not just on the pitch but around the place. A very, very good influence. For someone to walk in and have the medals that Darren's collected at Manchester United, to have played for such a great club and a great manager, it's rubbed. There's stuff that have rubbed off on him that he still maintains and still got, and it's great to have people like that around. Jolien's the same. If you have a look at Lescott's won championships. He's been involved in big games, played for big clubs. So for the players to have those sort of characters around, it helps a lot.
So do you need to attract a couple more of those kind of players for next season?
We'll see. We'll see what we can do and what we can't do. I think it's very easy to say we'd like to have, and we'd like to have, and we'd like to have, but it doesn't work that way. You have to decide what's available and what suits you as a football club and as a team. But I think we know what we want. I think we know where we're trying to go. We just got to try and make sure that we put it all together at the right time, and it might take over 6, 7, 8 weeks to be ready for when the season starts next year. We're better than what we were this year. No, everyone's fine. Everyone's, you can knock them down with a bus at the moment.